Hello there everybody, this is me Ethan here and welcome back to another video. In today's video I'll be giving you my entire thoughts on the final season 7 of the Star Wars The Clone Wars TV show that has been airing on Disney Plus since February. Now this show I actually remember watching back in 3rd grade. I didn't watch a lot of it, but I remember it was on Netflix and I have a little bit of nostalgia for it. I don't remember a lot from it, but I have somewhat a little bit of nostalgia for the show, but yet again, not a ton. So now getting into it, this season has 3 different arcs. If you don't know what an arc is, it is multiple episodes that connect one big story, like a bunch of episodes that make one story, if that makes sense. So this has 3 arcs in this season. First, we will take a look at the first 4 episodes of the season, that is the Bad Batch arc. As a whole for this arc, it was a good and enjoyable one. I liked it, I enjoyed it. Just, it's not one of my favorite or best arcs ever. I thought the little adventure was, fun. It was a good story. It was fun. One of my favorite parts was how we find out that Obi-Wan and Rex actually know about Anakin and Padme, being a thing and being married. That was very interesting to me, and I really liked that little twist in it. And now looking back at Revenge of the Sith, it looks a little bit different now knowing that. I really liked the Bad Batch, and it was cool seeing all the different abilities and how different they are compared to, the normal clones that we've seen in all of the show. And it's different seeing ones with like different abilities and stuff, and they're very different in combat compared to the normal ones fighting for the Republic. So I really enjoyed them. To see Echo come back was really cool, but it was also sad to see how rough of a condition he was in. Anakin also had a dark side moment in one of these episodes, which I really loved, where he just straight up kills Admiral Trench after Trench tells him it's not the way of the Jedi to kill him and instead put him into questioning or whatever. I thought that was very cool, and it definitely leads into Revenge of the Sith, which I really appreciate, so that was pretty cool. And the ending for this arc was also very satisfying to me and touching at the same time. I loved Echo's choice to join the Bad Batch because he feels he fits in now the best there. Like, he fits in better there than he does with the Republic being a malfunctioned clone now. So overall, this arc is not bad, but it's nothing really amazing, but it's definitely better than some arcs, I can say the least. I enjoyed it, but it's not amazing. Now for the Martez sisters arc with Ahsoka, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I really disliked this arc. It was very uninteresting to me. It was really just boring to me. Now, while it was cool to see Ahsoka again and see what she was up to before returning as a Jedi, this arc, like I said before, is just really boring. Trace and Rafa Martez weren't really interesting characters to me, except for when we get their viewpoint of the Jedi. It's cool to see different viewpoints of the Jedi in both positive ways and negative ways. It's something we need to see more and more Star Wars content, I think, because not very often do we see what it's like for normal citizens and what they think about Jedi. And I think it's kind of interesting, and how they don't know that Ahsoka is a Jedi while they say all these kind of negative things about them. So this arc felt to me like Lucasfilm just needed a little story to reintroduce Ahsoka, which I completely understand. They do need an arc to reintroduce Ahsoka and kind of show how she comes back in that final episode of the arc, which is just a completely necessary thing. Just the story and the characters that were included other than Ahsoka was just really boring to me, and it was hard for me to really sit through it. Overall, this was a very uninteresting arc to me and was very mediocre, but there's definitely been worse. Now for my favorite arc and the aspect of the entire season, we have the Siege of Mandalore arc, starting off with the episode named Old Friends Not Forgotten. This episode was fantastic. I have no issues with it. This episode happens 1 hour before Revenge of the Sith. Anakin and Obi-Wan are deciding whether to help Bo and Ahsoka with Maul and the Siege of Mandalore, or rescue the Chancellor, and we all know they end up doing something. If you watched episode 3, you know their decision that they made. Seeing Anakin's reaction to Ahsoka was full of emotion. Anakin wants to talk with her and catch up, but Ahsoka stops him because there's better things to do, and it really shows her character growth throughout the entire series, because she's not just a little Padawan anymore. She's a lot more matured, and it's just really cool to see. Seeing the 501st Ahsoka troopers was great. Same goes with Anakin giving Tano her new sabers. It was very heartwarming, and I loved it, and the Force theme just surrounded those few scenes, and I absolutely love it. Seeing Anakin and Ahsoka last time together, like speaking to each other, was very sad because of course we all know that the next time they see each other, everything will be different in the entire galaxy. Then we see finally at the end Ahsoka in the tunnels, and Maul asks something like, "Why are you here? I was hoping for Kenobi." That was a terrible Darth Maul impression, but yeah. End episode, and now on to the next one. The next episode is named Episode 10, The Phantom Apprentice, and boy was this episode really good. I absolutely love the title of this episode. It's a really nice little tie-in there. This episode actually happens while Kenobi is hunting General Grievous on Utapau, and Obi-Wan actually tells it to Ahsoka in the episode. I really love that. It's pretty cool to see, like, different things happen during Revenge of the Sith and at the Clone Wars at the same time. Revenge of the Sith will never be the same again after watching this, really. Also, the Maul and Ahsoka duel felt like a duel you'd see in a movie. It was the best duel in the show easily. It was just so good. Maul tells her about the plan, if you know what I mean. Well, he kind of talks about the plan and asks Ahsoka to join him to go against Darth Sidious. She says yes, but wants to know what it has to do with Anakin. It's really amazing seeing how scared Maul is of Sidious, and it's almost kind of funny at the same time, but it's just crazy. The Republic then captures him, and before they stun him, he just absolutely loses it and saying, "You don't know what you're doing. You are all going to die." I got chills whenever I heard that. So many chills, so many goosebumps. That was intense. And that's the end of the episode. Just wow. On to the next episode. It is named Shattered. Now they've captured Maul and they're keeping him in this kind of contraption. All we see of him are his eyes and hear him breathing. It is surprisingly it just has a ton of emotion to it and a ton of tension to it, and it's just really odd because you can't really capture that all the time with animation. While Ahsoka returns Maul to Coruscant, Order 66 is on the verge. We see Commander Rex go to hear a new briefing. We all know what's coming. But before that, we see Ahsoka sense the dark side. We hear some of the audio from Revenge of the Sith with Mace Windu, Anakin, and Palpatine, all by their original Revenge of the Sith actors when they try and kill Mace, and Anakin lives up to his prophecy that Darth Sidious has led him up to becoming Vader. I love this scene so much, and it's easily one of my favorites in the show. She goes to tell Rex, or Ahsoka goes to tell Rex that something is up, and something is up with Anakin, and just something is not right. Then it happens. Rex tells the other clones that he'll execute Ahsoka. This scene is really sad, seeing Rex shaking. He tears a little bit. There's a little tear that goes down his eye, down his face. He's trying to hold off the tears, and he's trying to almost fight Order 66. And then right before he fires, he says, "Find him. Fives. Find him." He then starts blasting, and the other clones join. She defends herself and is able to escape. She goes to find 3 droids, R7 being one of them, which was seen as Ahsoka's droid in the earlier episodes, I believe. They are able to close all the doors, luring Rex to Ahsoka. One of the droids ends up shocking him, I believe, and then they take Rex to the medical bay. She also finds out about the Fives case in the inhibitor chip that commands Order 66 that's putting clones whenever they're younger. She tries scanning for the inhibitor chip in Rex's head, but there's just no luck. She then holds her hand on Rex's forehead and says the line we hear from Chirrut from Rogue One, "I'm one with the Force and the Force is with me." That was a very cool little reference, and I really like that. She then finds it and removes it. We see the shut doors start to open, and it ends the episode right there. Overall, this episode was really great, and I loved seeing Order 66. Now for the final episode in the series, named Victory in Death, which is a very accurate kind of title for what happens during this time. We continue where the last episode left off. The clones are trying to kill Ahsoka, but they are all stunned by Rex and kind of force pushed, and just kind of knocks out the clones, and they don't really kill them, they just knock them out because they don't want to kill their brothers, and they were obviously very loyal to Ahsoka and Rex at one time. They go to find a shuttle to escape, while Maul is at the same time trying to look for a shuttle to escape. We see Maul absolutely kicking clone but he then destroys the hyperdrive generators, which was a very crazy scene, leading the Venator ship going towards a moon because it's caught in its gravitational field. Ahsoka opens the main hangar door looking for a shuttle that isn't under maintenance, but the clones are prepared, including Jesse. Ahsoka doesn't want to kill any of them. They come up with a plan where Rex tries to convince the troops and Jesse that Ahsoka isn't a Jedi, and it doesn't go that well that easily because they're supposed to kill all the Jedi, but, you know, Ahsoka hasn't really been exactly a Jedi. She was called a citizen in the previous episode by Mace Windu, which is one thing I forgot to mention before. I forgot to add that in. But then they try to escape, and they, of course, stun all the clones and stuff, and the droids drop the ground levels of the main hangar door, so the clones kind of drop down, and they're just, you know, stunned, and they're not really getting back up after a while. So there's that, and they try to escape to the shuttle, but Maul gets there first and escapes. Ahsoka and Rex find a Y-Wing as well and escape, and they go down to the bottom area of the Venator that kind of drops down just like the clones were before, and they're able to get in a Y-Wing, but Ahsoka is just kind of flying in the air in this scene, and Rex is trying to get her in the ship, and they're able to do so. Now that they've escaped the crashing Venator, it ends up crashing on that moon. Rex and Ahsoka go down and bury all the clones. You see their helmets on these like sticks or twigs, and then we get a zoom in on all the helmets, including Jesse's helmet. This scene was very emotional, and it just feels like the last episode. You can just really feel like the Clone Wars has actually ended, both the in-universe war and, of course, the TV show. It truly does feel like the end. We then cut to the same planet. We see snow troopers, stormtroopers, and Imperial probe droids. We then hear Vader's iconic breathing. He looks at the sunken Venator and sees a lightsaber in the ground. It's Ahsoka's. We saw her leave it there the scene before. Vader picks it up, ignites it, and takes it with him. We then see an Ahsoka trooper buried in the snow with Vader's reflection walking away. And that's it. The show is over. What a way to end the show. Overall, this season had its ups and downs. The best part I'd say was easily the last 4 episodes, and my favorite episode is either The Phantom Apprentice or Shattered from this season, and they're easily some of my favorite episodes in the Clone Wars, and I'd say it is probably the Clone Wars at its best. But I know there are other great episodes too, so I'm not going to get too into that. I mean, what a show. I'm sad that it's ended, but I'm happy they concluded the series and they just didn't leave it like a cliffhanger like they did before. I'm just happy that they continued the story and that the show wasn't fully over. I still have some episodes and arcs that I still need to watch, so it's not over for me yet. So what did you guys think of the season? Please be sure to tell me in the comments. I really want to know. I definitely enjoyed it, so I would like to thank you all so very much for watching. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and as always, I will see you in the next one. Bye, and may the Force be with you, always.